I know we have been talking about, everyone has been talking about the 100K H1B fee news. We all know what's happening there. We all are keeping a very, very close eye on what can happen. So yes, that news we already covered in this video, and if something new comes up as a follow-up to that, of course, I will create a new video. But the point is, that is not the only news about H1B this year. In fact, Trump administration has drastically changed this program, and this is a program that has been going for previous so many decades, and it was one of the most reliable ways for Indian students to start working in the US after graduation. And Trump administration made so many changes to it that the program has fundamentally started to look something very different now. So, and there are some small developments, some bigger developments, but overall they do impact your future in the US. So in this video, I just wanted to organize and sift through all those H1B related clutter and organize it in a way so that we can clearly see how H1B has changed in 2025. So that is what I want to talk about in this video, give you a bigger picture of, even apart from this 100K H1B fee news, what are some other major developments that have happened in 2025. All that on the other side of this intro. Keep watching. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Nishtha from Scholar Strategy and 24 North Star. Big important video today. We know about the 100K H1B news. I did a full video on it. Please do watch it if you haven't. But even apart from that, a lot has happened to H1B this year. And in this video, I want to cover from the least important development to the most important one, because some of them have already been implemented and some of them can go live as soon as 2026 or 2027, and trust me, these drastically change your future in the US. By the way, if you're finding the information in this useful, then please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps me. Now let me get started with the fifth point, and stick with me till the end when I will cover the most important development on H1B. Let's get started. So at number 5, I want to talk about the ban on third country stamping. As of September 2025, all H1B visa applicants must schedule their interviews in their home country or country of legal residence, which means for Indians, you have to come to India to get your stamping done. You cannot go to Canada, Mexico, Thailand, etc. to get the stamping. Now, they say that existing appointments in third countries will generally be honored, but new bookings have to follow the new rule. So, what does it mean for Indian students and professionals? That yes, you have to come back to India to get that stamping done, and because there is such a backlog of visa slot appointments in India, this means longer wait times and backlogs. This of course reduces the flexibility and increases the logistical burden. You have to plan that flight, you have to plan that trip, and you have to come back here and hope everything goes on smoothly. At number 4, I want to talk about the Dropbox removal and the need to attend in-person interviews. Now, during the COVID years, US government had given a relief to the visa holders and allowed them to go for interview waiver. What that policy said, that if your previous visa has expired within 4 years, you don't need to appear for fresh interviews. You could go for the Dropbox waiver program. So you just put your documents in the Dropbox, they will review it and they will renew your visa if everything looks all right. So this was a big welcome change, because it meant that you don't have to plan those visa interview trips, etc., and things could move more easily, more smoothly. Now, earlier this year, Trump government had already reduced this period of 48 months to 12 months, which meant that you were eligible for interview waiver only if your visa had expired within the last 12 months. Now, what does it mean for H1B holders is that H1B holders have to go for their renewals after 3 years. So in that case, they could just use the Dropbox facility. They did not have to appear for in-person interviews. But effective from September 2, 2025, this interview waiver program has been completely scrapped, which means that there is no waiver for anybody. You need to appear for a visa interview and make a fresh case for your applications. This has 2 repercussions. Obviously, again, longer wait times, backlogs, processing delays, especially through the fall and holiday travel seasons. but also that renewals are no longer straightforward. You will have to face fresh scrutiny and make a new case, and you may get your H1B visa or you may not. So yes, this is again a news that impacts the most of the H1B holders. Now let me come to the third point, which is the stricter oversight of third-party placements. And let me give you a context before we get into this. So there was a very interesting article on Bloomberg recently that talks about how H1B middlemen are bringing cheap labor to Citi, Capital One, etc. kind of companies. The main point of this article is that a lot of companies in US are obviously hiring global talent, especially in science and engineering, via the H1B visas. But Bloomberg News did a deep dive and they found the data revealed something interesting. They found that a lot of banks and telecom companies are also hiring a lot of H1B visas, but here is the big difference between them and the big tech companies. The large tech companies are hiring the H1Bs directly, paying them handsome salaries. However, these banks and telecom companies are using the H1B program to hire lower paid workers, and they are doing this indirectly through staffing and outsourcing companies. And these companies, these outsourcing and staffing companies, are capturing actually half of the 85,000 new visas allocated each year. Now for me, this diagram is very, very interesting. As you can see, Amazon, they are almost hiring all their H1Bs directly, which is a good news for fresh grads, etc., people like you. But look at Apple and then look at Verizon, AT&T, Citi kind of companies. There most of the H1B hires are coming from third-party staffing companies. Now, who are these third-party staffing companies? They are companies like TCS, Cognizant, etc., who are exporting the Indian talent using the H1B program. But the difference is they pay them very low and they are also keeping a part of their pay with the company. And the US government is alleging that these staffing companies are actually misusing the H1B program because they are bringing this foreign cheap talent and making it compete against the US talent. In fact, the article says that TCS is currently under investigation by the US Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. The whole point is they think these companies are exploiting the H1B program. So what the government or Trump administration is proposing is that they are going to put more scrutiny on these staffing companies. So any company who is not absorbing the H1B talent directly and using it to place at the client place will receive much more in-depth scrutiny on their applications. So this will include all the IT services company in India, for example, and even staffing agents, etc. They will now have to provide detailed contracts, proof of specialty occupation work for the entire visa duration. This means that they might receive more requests for evidence, shorter visa validity periods, and higher denial rates, which I think is honestly a good news for students like you, because you will get hired directly by the big tech companies, and we don't want to compete against these agencies or consulting companies who are exporting talent from India. But yes, this is bad news for TCS, Cognizant, Wipro kind of workers, because their H1B application will face higher scrutiny. There might be delays and denial risks. Second very important news is the stricter cap exemption criteria. Now there's not a lot of detail on it, but a proposal is being made. So this is how it works. So we know the cap exempt H1B employers, right? They are universities, non-profit institutions, research labs, etc., hospitals also, who hire talent on H1B, but they are not subject to the 85,000 cap limit. So these H1B can be filed any time of the year and they do not have the cap, so any number of H1Bs can be issued. Now this is a relief for people, especially in bioinformatics, biomedical kind of programs, where employers are mostly research kind of organization. So if you are not able to get your H1B through the main route or in a corporate setting, many students look for these kind of cap exempt employers to continue working in the US. But now the Trump government is saying that they feel that this program is also getting exploited, and so fewer employers and roles will now qualify for the exemption from the annual H1B quota. The government is saying they want to make sure that exemption is given only for the intended categories and the correct usage of this. Now the repercussion of this for Indian students and professionals is huge, I feel, because a lot of people were relying on these cap exempt categories. So any Indian working or seeking jobs in academia and research might lose access to cap exempt H1Bs. This means increased competition in the regular quota. So more Indian applicants will be now forced to the highly competitive general lottery, which is obviously not a good news, because there is already oversupply of the talent there, and which means fewer chances of you getting this visa even in the academia kind of jobs. Now let's talk about the big elephant in the room, the biggest news which has fundamentally changed the nature of H1B, and that is the wage-based selection going to replace the current H1B lottery news. And many people are already aware of it. I have already made a couple of videos on this, but just to summarize it, Trump administration has proposed that current lottery, which is the random lottery, whereas everybody has the same chance of getting the H1B, that is going to be replaced by something known as wage-based system that will prioritize applicants with higher salary offers. Now, I have already explained it in this previous video. Please do take a look at it. It's very, very interesting. But there are a couple of uncertainties here, and I've not been able to find full information. In fact, I was talking to a BBC journalist as well, and we discussed, like, does it mean they are going to strictly prioritize the higher salary, or are they going to prioritize it by wage level? So every H1B job is categorized into 4 levels, wage level 1 to level 4. Level 1 is the beginner level, and level 4 is the absolute expert level. Obviously, level 4 salaries are higher, much higher than the level 1 salary. Now, there are different job categories, and these wage levels are defined differently for each job category. So the wage level salaries for a data scientist role is going to be different from a wage level salary of a product manager role or a database administrator role. Now, interestingly, if they start prioritizing strictly by the salary, then it's going to give a huge benefit to roles like ML engineer, AI engineer, data science, etc., where the salaries are typically much higher. But if they prioritize it by wage level, then repercussions are slightly more complex and interesting. So there has been study on some of the data of, like, H1B petitions which are received every year, and it was seen that, like, some jobs are, most of the roles are actually filed in level 3 and level 4 categories. This includes project manager, this includes sales engineer, and some other roles. Now, these will have a higher chances of getting the H1B lottery because most of the petitions are going into level 3 and level 4. And if you're a fresh grad trying to find a job in these category and you are entering at wage level 1, you have practically 0 chances of getting the H1B lottery. Now, level 4 salary of a database administration might be lower than a level 2 salary of a ML engineering job. Now, how are they going to compare these two things is still not clear to me. But overall, what I'm going to say is this basically penalizes the entry level workers and any job roles where salaries are generally much lower. So till now, the only salary criteria was that H1B jobs have to be paid at least $65,000, and most of the H1B jobs today obviously qualify for that. But this fresh new criteria on salary changes everything, especially if you have no work experience and if you are a fresh grad, you are entering at the wage level 1 with entry level salaries, you will have practically 0 chances of getting the H1B visa. Now, this is definitely a good news for seniors or highly paid Indian tech workers, more experienced people. But the vast majority of Indian applicants who make up over 70% of the H1B demand are the entry level, wage level 1 or 2 workers. They are going to face much tougher odds. So yes, this is the news that has shaken the soul of many international students in the US, but you need to know about this. This can go into effect in 2027 because this recently got approval and should be able to get passed within next 1 or 2 years. Those are most important 5 changes proposed to the H1B system this year, and many of them look like they will be implemented soon, or some of them are already implemented. Now, these are not some random little changes. They are big fundamental shifts in the way H1B visas work and get issued. So I hope this video was useful. Please be cognizant of what's going on in the US with all the visas, etc., because it directly impacts your future. Let me know how you like it, and please do hit the like and subscribe button if it was helpful, and I will see you guys with a fresh new video next weekend. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.